Well, g'day, folks. Today we're joined by Anabelle Smith. She's an Olympic bronze medalist in the sport of diving. So we'll look forward to finding out her thoughts on obviously Tokyo being postponed till 2021 and how her training has been affected with this, plus what she's been up to with COVID-19, plus much more on Legends with Bevo.
Welcome to Legends with Bevo. Thanks to the Holdy, Coopers, Anytime Fitness Glenelg, and Paradise Mazda. And now, here's your host, Bevo.
Anabelle Smith, great to have you on Legends with Bevo. Tell us all about your journey so far into diving and how you became an Olympic bronze medalist.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I guess my journey started many years ago now. I grew up a really sporty kid. I loved soccer, I played netball, I did little athletics, so all the normal sort of sports, but was very active. So my parents put me in as many activities as they could. And then I stumbled across diving when I was about 11 or 12. And yeah, my parents just took me to a local pool for a holiday program, and the coach saw that I had some natural ability. I had natural aerial awareness and, taught myself backflips on trampolines and all that kind of stuff. And then, they asked me to sign up for the next terms program. And I did that just once or twice a week. And then, it quickly snowballed in a good way, into 10 sessions a week and joining into a high performance program. And from about 13 or 14, I was fully committed to just diving. So, yeah.
And in terms of COVID-19, obviously it's been a bit interrupted in terms of your training schedule and stuff. What have you been doing to sort of keep yourself busy with the pools being closed and stuff?
COVID-19, it's been a very challenging time, obviously, for everybody, but our training went from, I'd just gotten back from our first competition of the year over in Canada, and I was training in Adelaide at the start of the year because my coach had relocated there. So we went back to training as a normal week, and then one day we found out our competitions were going to be cancelled. Then the next day, more competitions were cancelled, and then by the end of the week, I was back in Melbourne, getting ready to go into lockdown. So it was a pretty quick, change and transition. But I've spent the last couple of months doing squats in my lounge room and, a few somersaults, but also being scared that I was going to go through my floor into the apartment underneath me. It's been difficult and different, but luckily we're coming out the other end now and we're slowly getting back into the gym, which is nice.
Yeah, what's the lead up look like in terms of going towards Tokyo 2021? Hopefully fingers crossed that will go ahead as normal.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. We've had to sort of, reset our goals and start a replanning, start to replan the next year because it's all going to be different now. So we still have to qualify spots for Australia to compete at the Olympics, because that was supposed to happen in April at the World Cup, but it got cancelled. So that's probably going to happen next February. And then, some more international competitions and a lot of training just leading into what would be our Olympic trials in June and then going on to the Olympics. So it's pretty stressful just because there is so much unknown at the moment. But if things go to plan, it'll be the same sort of run of competitions as a usual year. We just kind of delete this year.
Yeah. And what was your reaction like when you found out that Tokyo this year had been cancelled?
I was really disappointed when I first found out. Obviously, we put everything on hold every 4-year cycle to try and make an Olympic Games, and to be so close to it almost being here and then to be postponed was a real shame, just because I was really working towards peaking for this year. And I guess, I had things planned for after the Olympics, if I made the team, to, get some work experience, do a bit of travel and just, do the things that you can't do when you're training 24/7 with the goal of making the Olympics. So obviously that all got wiped anyway because you can't travel anywhere at the moment, or things are changing. But really disappointed, I guess, but we had to quickly move the mindset from disappointment to, all right, let's reset our goals and get moving on what's going to be the next new phase. So I'm feeling all right now, but it was hard to comprehend when it first came out.
Yeah, I can just imagine. And you mentioned just before about getting some work experience. Outside of diving, are you doing any study or anything like that, or any sort of other work to keep yourself busy?
Yeah, so I really try and make sure I have a balanced life, because if diving becomes my all but it gets ripped away at one point, then I don't want to, fall back on nothing. So I've spent many years at university doing part-time and taking semesters off over the previous Olympics that I've been to, but I completed last year my exercise and sports science degree. So that was really good. And looking to the future, I want to stay working in sport to some capacity, but I'm not exactly sure what area. But that's where I'd like to do some work experience just to figure out what area of high performance sport I would really like to work in. So, yeah.
Oh, well, you're still very young, so you've got plenty of years of competing for Australia anyway. Hope, fingers crossed going forward. Now, I must admit, Anabelle, I'm a bit of a wuss when it comes to, heights and stuff like that. And I get petrified jumping off the 3-metre platform, which you're probably about to laugh at me, because how the heck do you get up to the 10-metre and not be scared? And then you're doing flips as well. Like, that's just phenomenal.
Look, to be honest, when I first started diving, I was a fearless kid. I was not scared of heights, not scared of anything. So, standing backwards on a 10-metre platform when you're 15 years old and doing 3.5 somersaults backwards, I didn't bat an eyelid at the time because it was what I did. I was trained for it. I was ready for it. But to be honest now, I'm a springboard diver now, so I only compete off the 3-metre springboard. But even last year, I had a minor comeback to platform because they were in need of another synchro partner. And getting back up there after all those years of just being down on the 3-metre was very scary. And, as you get older, you get a bit wiser. And so I realized this is just crazy. Like, why would anyone think it's a good idea to go backwards off a 10-metre platform? But it is one of those, cases of the more you do it, the more normal it feels. And the more you stand up on 10-metre, the lower it feels as well. Compared to, if I went up there now after not being up on 10-metre, probably for the last 6 months, I would probably also have a heart attack. So, it takes a lot of courage. But when you train for it, that's what you do.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, certainly a lot more braver than me, that's for sure. Now, in terms of the Olympics, what was it like competing for Australia? It must have been such a thrill competing in your very first Olympics.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe because my first Olympics was in 2012, and being a sports nut my whole life, just thinking that I was now in the same village and the same arena as some of my sporting idols was just crazy. And so I went there with big, my eyes were wide open and I was just taking it all in, and it was all pretty overwhelming, but I just loved it. I tried to soak in every moment. I was not afraid to go ask people for photos. I ran into Usain Bolt in the food hall, and was like, oh, well, here's my only chance. So got a photo with Usain Bolt. We chased David Beckham down like the athlete exit stairs after a diving event that he came and watched, and everyone had kind of left, but we waited around to see where he was going to exit, and we had access to those stairs. So we followed him down the lift. We ran down the stairs and got a photo with David Beckham. And so, yeah, it was just phenomenal. And I just really couldn't believe that I was, I dreamt of being in the Olympics since 2000, watching the Sydney Olympics. And then now I was standing there 12 years later. So, yeah, and then fast forward to Rio 4 years later, I tried to be a little less, who can I take a photo with, and like focus on my job. But yeah, obviously Rio was phenomenal because we won a medal, and that brought a whole new set of experiences and fun that followed on from that. But yeah, being in an Olympics is just really special and part of a greater Australian team, which is, it's a multi-sport event. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, congratulations on that bronze medal, obviously, at the Rio Olympics in 2016. What was that feeling like, being up on the dais, knowing that you've just got a bronze medal in front of the whole world and you've just done Australia so proud?
It was a really special moment. I think it really, they say all the hard work it makes all the hard work worth it and all the sacrifices worth it. But in that very moment, just the feeling of relief and the feeling of happiness, and I've given 12 years of my life to training, and my family has sacrificed so much to enable me to get to that position. So yeah, the celebration of just everything in my career ending in that one moment was really special. It's kind of hard to be in the moment because everything's being televised, so they're running everything to time. So pretty much after our last dive, or when we found out the competition finished, we were in third, we were quickly rushed behind the scenes to go down the other end where the podium was and for the medal presentation, and put into line, and then all of a sudden we were out getting our medals. So it was all very, very fast, but we competed on day 2. So then I had, 10 more days to soak it all in and, for it to really sink in, which was really awesome. But yeah, can't really describe that feeling of winning an Olympic medal when you really dream about that.
And you talked about obviously the highs of the sport. What's been some of the challenges that you've had to sort of deal with so far, Anabelle?
For me, definitely, I've had to spend quite a bit of time away from home. So when I finished school, I had to relocate to Brisbane to train, where our national program was based at the time. And, being away from family, I'm such a homebody. So that was really difficult to be away from my family and friends. And during that time, diving really became my sole focus, and I lost a bit of that balance in my life. So that was tricky, but it enabled me also to qualify for my first Olympics. So I knew there was a purpose behind it. But shortly after, I moved home. But pretty much ever since, I've had to go in and out of different states for training, and spend quite a lot of time overseas as well, which, competing overseas is what I love. So that's always been, such a blessing to be able to do that. But yeah, spending time away during training is difficult. But, it's part of the package. I guess other parts that have been really difficult has always been injuries. I suffered a pretty bad injury in 2015 leading into the Rio Olympics, where I was pretty much like wiped out of the sport for a few months and wasn't really given much hope to make that next team because I missed the World Championships the year before. So that was really hard to, go from being a consistent member on that national team and competing at World Champs and World Cup and Olympics before, but yeah, kind of being put in the back seat to realise that, people don't have full trust in my ability to come back for next year. So that was difficult, but that was a real pivotal moment, I think, for me when I gathered a team of really strong support staff around me in Melbourne, who helped me get through my injury and helped me stay on track to believe that I could get back for the next year. And then, I did get back and we went to the Olympics and won a medal. So it was a happy ending, which was good. But yeah, there's definitely been periods of real struggle and just having to dig deep to get through.
And outside of diving, what sort of other interests do you have? Do you sort of play or follow any other sports?
I'm a massive footy fan, so I go for Richmond. It's been an up and down journey with Richmond, but hey, we can celebrate it now. But we've been through the ringer, so
you certainly have.
So I've struggled the last few months not having footy on the screens, but thankfully that's coming back soon, even if we can't, be there in person cheering them on. But I've always loved footy, come from a big footy family. I love all sports, so, I enjoy following and watching along to any sport. I love traveling. Anytime we get off from training, I'm always booking a trip to go explore somewhere new. Last year we went to Hawaii for the first time with my sister, and I really loved I snorkeled for the first time and just going on adventures and new hikes and seeing new places. I really love doing that. But yeah, I'm pretty just a sporty, active, adventurous kind of girl.
And we've seen a lot of people cross over from, your basketballs, your volleyballs across to AFLW. Is that something that you've ever been interested in yourself or been asked to do?
Funny you asked that. I have been interested in that before. After the Rio Olympics, I had a couple of months off. And at that time, AFLW and women's footy was kind of on that real growth period. And they had quite a lot of academies where they were getting girls to come in and do, extensive clinics and week-long programs. And I actually got asked to do one of those in my break. And so I went down to Seaford, where St Kilda used to train, and was a part of that program with a lot of girls who had played club footy all their life, and then they had a handful of us who were athletes from other sports. So that was really fun, and I really enjoyed that. My body's conditioned in different ways that, I'm not in aerobic sport currently. So my footy skills have always been really great because I've grown up with a brother and I can kick a great drop punt, but I can't run for that amount of time up and down a field. So yeah, it was interesting just to try it out, and I wish I could have continued to do it, but I went back to training for diving and obviously can't do them both at the same time. But who knows? Never say never in the future, but I'm also getting old. So, and there's a lot more girls now who footy. So
Hey,
we'll
there's
see.
still girls running around their 30s, so there's still hope out for you if you do change your mind. And just to finish with, 3 famous people that you'd love to have dinner with, who would they be, Anabelle?
Ooh, probably Serena Williams, just because I think she is a boss lady in the, female sport world. Steph Curry, because I'm a massive Warriors fan. And I think she's an amazing human as well. And then third, probably Dusty, just because I think he'd be really interesting to have dinner with, just to see what he would say. But yeah, 3 sporting people.
Yeah, obviously complete different personalities. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Anabelle Smith, thanks so much for joining us today on Legends with Bevo. It's been a real blast talking to you. All the best next year. Hopefully, as I mentioned, fingers crossed, 2021 will go ahead and you'll go well again, and hopefully see you up winning another medal.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you.